What up, what up, what up? I am Mr. 14.
And I'm your producer, Ms. Siobhan.
And welcome to the Spotlight edition of the meetup today.
Absolutely. We have a very special guest today. We're talking with Dr. Ericka Pinckney about mental health in the Black community. But before we get to that,
I already know where you about to go.
let's have a talk about some things that's been going on.
We was outside this weekend.
So y'all know the world has opened back up.
Yes, it has. It's opened up more than we thought.
More than I was ready for, if I'm being told.
I wasn't ready. I definitely was not ready for what happened last night. Now, not all bad. Not all bad.
No. We're not. Listen, I think we all needed it. We all needed to kind of get out. Everybody's been stir crazy. I can't wait to get my kids out the house. That's to get the children out.
But I get the kids out and I do basic things.
But I want to take them to actually go do something.
Stuff. I want to take them to the zoo. I want to take them to be around people. I can't do the beach and stuff like that. I would not do that right now. Like right now, it's like we're gonna go to the playground. We're gonna go get some ice cream.
We went to Red Robin the other day. We finally got them out to a restaurant.
See, we've been to the restaurant I think twice. We did hibachi.
We did once.
But we've been going during the day.
Yeah, not at night when it's crowded. See, we went Friday night.
We don't do crowded places right now during COVID.
We don't do stuff like that. I mean, but whatever. Let's talk about what got us to outside.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Last night was amazing.
You and Mr. Rowe had a very busy weekend.
Very
busy weekend.
Yes,
we had the talent show.
Yep, we had the first 717 Youth Talent Show that was hosted by Mika 3K. Big shout out to Mika 3K for putting that together.
Awesome job.
Myself and Soror were guest judges at the event, and it was amazing. Absolutely. Like these kids, pardon my language, they showed their asses.
In a good way.
In a good way. A very good way. We got to see all the talent from the youth and just... It was a very positive event.
Yeah, we had people from the community came out. They were also judges. Tone Cook.
Yeah, we had Tone Cook.
Push Organization. Preston, another 98 graduate.
98. And he's definitely doing it big with Early Bird Mob. We had Miss Deidre Beverly, who was a guest last week.
She was a judge?
Yes, she was a judge with us.
Absolutely beautiful.
We had Miss Diva Davenport also. And we got to get her on the damn show soon.
Absolutely.
We definitely got to get her on the show soon.
If you guys didn't get a chance to check that out, the link is still up on our YouTube. We did female entrepreneurship, and Miss Deidre Beverly was a guest.
Yes.
We also had Brianna White. She's the owner of Holistic Vegan, and then the wonderful Miss Maisha Webb,
which takes us to
the other event.
The next thing we did, and after that, there was a Black Excellence fashion documentary.
And it was Black Excellence on full display.
When I tell you, I was blown away. Like I watch documentaries a lot. Like documentaries are my shit. Yeah. So I'm sitting there pretending I'm flicking through Netflix. This is what I got going in my mind as I'm watching it. Would I continue to watch this if it wasn't a Friends event?
Right.
The answer to that is damn right. It was amazing. Like everything about it was Black excellence. Yeah. I can't say it any different than that.
It was a beautiful event, well put together.
Yes. Very well
organized. Done in order.
Soldiers Grove, it was outside. It was a great event.
Okay.
It was just nice to be at, and then they had the after party at Crawdaddy's.
Which is very nice, and I got to come out to that. I got out the house.
and that was a lot. It was awesome. A lot. And then after that, we went and took a stroll down our popular downtown 2nd Street, and let me tell you, if you wasn't outside last night,
everybody in Harrisburg and the surrounding parts were out.
Everybody to 717. If you're area, you go to 717. They were on 2nd Street.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I looked around and I still saw a lot of, as Sorrel would say, Capona. I saw Capona.
Oh, no. We saw a lot of there was a lot of Capona.
So we stayed on the opposite side. We stayed on the opposite side.
We stayed on a little 3 posse. But I did look good last night with both of y'all. It was fun. We had a very grown up. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Fun night. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It started off very classy. We did get a little ratchet as the night went on, but it was good.
The libations kicked in.
Oh no, but it was a great night. But again, it's good to be out of the house because I know a lot of people.
It did feel good.
Very recently, I mean, especially with COVID, mental health has been quite a struggle for a lot
of people.
The isolation, not being able to just to live, to go out to see your family members. Mm-hmm. So it's actually very fitting that we're kind of on the cusp of hopefully things changing.
Yes, and for me, it was a struggle.
It was absolutely
not even during the beginning, just the whole time. Kids home from school, working from home. I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah. None of us.
Isolation.
You gotta remember,
I'm a social person. Like
we shut down March 13th of last year.
Yes.
No one was prepared for that. You know what I mean? We had no idea how to get these kids situated and how kids were trying to manage just being a parent and trying to keep everybody sane.
No one even wanted to speak up on their mental health issues. Like it was okay. I can deal with this. This is what it is. But
It's
That's why we
okay
got-
to not be okay sometimes. And that
Right.
exactly. That's why we have this amazing guest that's on with us today. Can we just shout her out just a little bit before we bring her in?
I'd love to shout her out because I've known Miss.
We've known her.
I was about to say Miss. No, I'm sorry.
Doctor.
I've known Doctor Ericka
Yes.
Pinckney since I want to say about the 6th grade. Once I got to middle school,
Mm-hmm.
and she also had a family member that lived down the street from me as well, so we would bump into each other that way.
Right.
She's always been a great person,
Great soul.
a great friend,
Beautiful person.
just a great person to know.
Yeah.
And just knowing a person like that and having them have your back and just being there for you is dope.
So it really is no surprise that somebody of her caliber, just with her heart, would go into a profession like this. And she is actually a mental health professional.
Nothing that she's doing now is surprising.
It's surprising at all.
Nothing.
But I mean,
I've seen this. This is her.
Yeah,
So-
it is an amazing accomplishment. And
It
we need
is.
to celebrate this
It
Black
is.
excellence and this Black girl magic that she has going on.
More Black excellence.
Yes. So, but we're honored to have her, and she's going to talk to us about mental health in the Black community and what pushed her to actually get into this space that she's in. She's one of very few people of color, Black people, that are actually in this profession, and she's going to talk to us about how important it is to have people that look like us in this field. So, can we bring her in?
Without further
Let's bring her
ado,
in.
let's bring in
Doctor.
Dr. Ericka Pinckney.
Hello.
Look at all that after the name.
Look at all
that ain't just
that.
Dr. Ericka Pinckney.
Oh, them good guys.
See, I wouldn't even know what to do with all that after my name. My name is just Thomas Johnson. Period.
Mr. 1-4 after it to make
You got Mr. 1-4. You got Mr. 1-4.
No,
Get my camera
it
right.
is an honor, and I feel like I've known you for a very long time, but I just feel like I have to call you Dr. Pinckney. I want to make sure we give you that proper due. You worked really hard for this, and we're so honored to have you on with us today. Thank you so very much.
Yes.
We're so proud.
Y'all trying to get me misty-eyed before we even
Go ahead.
like, ah.
That's our show. This is what we do. Whatever you feel, let it out. We love it. But we're so incredibly proud of you.
Thank you so
As soon
much.
as we started doing these segments, you were one of the first people who were like, we have to
Right.
have her
Right.
on this show.
And we want, our whole thing is giving you your flowers right now. Because
Absolutely.
you damn sure deserve them. You
Damn
damn
sure.
sure deserve them.
Yes.
Thank
So-
you. I appreciate it. Really do.
Absolutely. Talk to us a little bit about Dr. Pinckney.
Okay.
Who is Dr. Ericka Pinckney?
Well, as you all know, like Thomas referenced, I'm a Harrisburg person, 717, proud, never, always anywhere I go, we from Harrisburg. So I'm sitting with my classmates here. So 9-8.
Hello.
But my love for this field came my senior year in Ms. Wilbur's class.
Okay.
Wow.
I didn't know that behavior sciences and psychology and all of, that was a thing. And it was her psychology class. I'm like, you mean you can study this? This is a thing? And as you all know, I was pregnant my senior year. So my son is now 23, married, living his best life, beautiful wife. She just graduated
Big shout out to him.
last week.
I'm gonna cut you off because I want to give him a shout out. He played the drums last week.
At the
He was on the drums last week at Otto's event. So big
incredibly
shout out to him.
talented
My
musician.
apologies. I had to give him a shout out though because he's doing
No,
his stuff.
all good, all good. But at that time, it's like, okay, what's life going to look like for me? So my mom pretty much was like, would you consider going to hack? And at that time, I wasn't really feeling the idea, but it was like, you're going to do something. So I went to hack and I flipped and I flopped and I wasn't the best student, didn't really have the best study skills, but I learned and it just started to build. So I had mentors who would come and say, you should keep going. And then I went to SHIP and got my bachelor's degree from Shippensburg. Well, let me backtrack. I got my associate's degree in secondary ed social science at transferred to SHIP. I got my bachelor's my bachelor's is in social work with a concentration in psychology. Then I went back to SHIP and got my master's in mental health counseling, community mental health counseling. And I was done with school. I just wanted to live. I just wanted to go outside.
Right.
I didn't go to school for like 4 years. I just lived life. And then I went on the PhD journey. And then from here, it's all history now. So.
I love it. I love it. I love hearing it. I love hearing it.
And just to know that, it wasn't a traditional route for you. And it
Right.
wasn't easy. You had to work, but what I mean, you came up sort of like a professional scholar.
Yes,
It
absolutely.
was amazing. And just that encouragement, because there's a lot of young ladies that are in the same space that you're in. Just like, what am I going to do? What does this mean for me?
Right.
Right.
And you figured it out. So that's amazing.
And
So
it takes a village is real. So there are
Absolutely.
people, family, parents, mentors, everybody. My son having a child care center at Hack that he can come with me, So all those different things really help.
Wow. All right. So let's talk about, Thomas mentioned all those letters you got after your name.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about those. So your professional designation, what is your professional title and designation?
Yes. So what you see below is PhD. So I will go briefly. Well, PhD, licensed professional counselor, is my license. So through the state board, Pennsylvania State Board, you have to have so many hours of supervision under someone licensed. Then you have to take an exam before you can have the designation of a licensed professional counselor or whatever your license could be. So you can be a licensed social worker, you can be a licensed marriage and family therapist, you could be a licensed psychologist. So there's different domains and disciplines under the field. And then the NCC is the National Certified Counselor. So that's a certification that you get by way of completing your exam and things like that.
Okay.
Now that one is actually new to me, so thank you for explaining that, because that one I'm not even aware of. The other stuff.
I like to add a thing too. I think it's important. Like sometimes people say, "Oh, so you're a doctor, you can prescribe medication." No, so there's different levels to this. So I want to break that down really quick. So a psychiatrist. So a psychiatrist is a medical doctor. They're going to be able to prescribe you medications.
Okay.
Right.
So that's all good. Definitely, they have that credential to be able to do so. A psychologist has extensive training in psychological testing and evaluation, and it's also an advanced degree. A PhD, you have extensive research. We've all had to write a dissertation and do internships and residencies and all of those different things to be able to hold that title. So like PhD, PsyD, psychiatrist, all of those different things they're different. And sometimes people think they're all the same. So you hear, well, I'm a life coach, or I'm a, play therapist or art therapist. All of them are great lanes. We all need them. They all can work together, but it is good that our community understands what's the difference, because I am not a psychiatrist. I knew that I never wanted to have anything to do with being responsible for somebody's medication.
No, I don't blame you.
Tell me that your family doctor changed your blood pressure medication. I just never wanted that level of liability. I knew I wanted to be more in the clinical domain, and I do outpatient therapy, so I'm considered a psychotherapist.
Okay, all right. So you found your domain, you found your space, and you stayed in that lane. And you talked a little bit about in high school what kind of gave you the passion for it, right? That's how it sparked. What was there anything that was like a catalyst that pushed you into this and said, "This is the space that I want to be in, and this is what I know I want to do"?
God's will.
All right.
Good shit.
All right.
Yeah. I don't take credit for that, because things started to happen, and then it would be connected with. So those are things that I couldn't even. If you would have asked me a year ago, would I be launching my own private practice? I would be like, no. I'm just trying to recuperate from this PhD journey. And now, right here at it, and venturing off and doing this project with another phenomenal clinician, Roseanne Johnson, and she has 25 years of experience. And this is where I'll speak about the partnership that we're working on later on. But it's God's will. That's it.
Now, I just want to say, period, I'm just so proud of you. Opening your own practice, I am beyond proud of you. I just want to tell you that. But with that being said, and you opening your own private practice, being a woman of color, how important is it just for the Black community to have someone representing us in that field, someone that we can talk to, someone that we can share our thoughts with?
That shares our experiences.
That's what I was going to say. That's because there's a lot of times where we look up things online. Maybe we want to have a talk, maybe we don't. But if we even think about it, it's very rare we see us. So how important is it for us being represented in this field?
I think here in central Pennsylvania, we need a unified front to let people know that there are trained clinicians out here. We did some independent research, and we found up to 50 different clinicians around here. But, so many times my inbox is, hey, can you help me find Black therapists of Central PA? Is not something I just said, oh, let's just do this, Roseanne. It came out of the inboxes and the tags. So the community is speaking, saying this is what we want. This is what we need. We need to be able to, it does matter. Representation does matter. I've heard people say things like, it's cool talking to you. It's professional. But if I'm like, yeah, girl, like, let's get this popping. I'm not running out of the room. I'm not judging them. I'm like, it's nothing, you know, and that
Right.
matters sometimes. Just being able, sometimes people say just to be able to let it all out and just be able to be your authentic self and have somebody who may not have had your identical walk, but they still, it's resonates. It's different things from their
It's
life
empathy.
experiences that
They
can
can
Right.
empathize, yeah. So let's talk about it. Because we know, and I think you're aware, Thomas and I are both aware, and we've had this conversation before, is that there is quite a stigma in our community, the Black community,
Big stigma.
specifically surrounding mental health and what it means. Because I can remember myself, you know, I've struggled with severe depression at a point in time. And it was a lot of, you don't need that. You don't have to do that. Well, did you go to church? Just pray about it.
Yes.
And prayer, absolutely, it is essential. It works. It's grounding. But there was just something else that I needed. Yeah. And so can you talk to us a little bit about where you think that stigma comes from? Number one, where does it come from? And what type of things can we do to sort of dispel what surrounds it? And what pushes people to not want to do it or not reach out for help?
Yeah, you hit that right away when you said, earlier you said it's okay to not be okay. That's so important for us to first recognize, like, it's okay. We all have a story, you know, again, not one person's story is going to look like the other person's story, but you have your own unique experience. So with that, you also said about pray about it.
Yeah.
Historically, you know, that could be in our culture, you just pray about it, sweep it under the rug.
That's it. And it's gone, right?
And I use in my treatment a lot of times the iceberg, the anger iceberg. And at the top, if you imagine an iceberg and you see what you see on top. But if you look underneath, there's disappointment, there's sadness, there's hurt, there's all kind of trauma, and it's not always encouraged. So what do you do if it's not encouraged? You just push it down. You suppress, you suppress until eventually there's going to be a physiological reaction or something to trigger you to have a serious response or reaction to things. So first and foremost, just realizing that you can pray, you can have your spiritual preference, but you can also seek mental health treatment at the same time. They can work together. So this here, I put this in my letter to the clinicians. It's like, you know, people say, oh, if I get a therapist, am I crazy? Or will people think I'm crazy?
Right.
Yeah. Or doesn't mean, or I'm weak. Or you're weak.
Yes, I'm weak. I should be able to handle everything. We have this superwoman.
For men.
Especially for Black men.
That's where it comes from. I'm weak. I ain't gonna front. Probably I'm a bitch. That's where a Black man's gonna look at it. Like, I gotta do that. Like, come on. I'm better than that.
Suck it up.
However, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there was one day at work prior to me leaving my job that I was at, I had a panic attack. I had a full out panic attack, and I had no clue how to handle it,
or even what it was.
Right. And I felt it, and I broke down. I had a complete breakdown at work, at my desk, at home. I would say in my studio, but at home. And it's important for especially Black men to be able to have an outlet to let us know it's okay to go through that. So, what steps should people take? You know, when even looking for help to want to talk.
One of the resources that I provided already to you all is called Black Men Heal. That's a resource, you know.
We'll make sure we put them up.
Yes. So any of the resources I've provided are good, but first you want to consider, what are you looking for? How are you going to get that? So do you need to talk to your primary care physician? Because you always rule out, is there a medical condition going on? So you rule out medical, but then you also then want to then get the appropriate mental health evaluation. So is it do you need a psychiatric evaluation? Are you looking at a neuro, because sometimes it could be a chemical imbalance, and not seeing you throw a pill at everything. And some people think, if I get a therapist, then they're going to give me medication, and I don't want to take medication. So there's all of those different things that are going on. So, you know, checking with your insurance. If you have insurance, you're calling the back of your insurance card, and there should be a customer service number. And you want to call there and ask for who is my mental health provider? How do I access getting an outpatient therapist? If you're looking to pay out of pocket, you know, is the therapist you're working with accepting? Do they not work? Some therapists don't do anything with insurance at all. They're totally sliding scale, or they may do a pay out of pocket. This is my fee. This is what you pay. So you have to explore all of those different avenues that are out there.
Okay. All right.
Now, this question just came to my head. Not written down on our notes or anything, but you went over prescriptions, and people just going out and being prescribed things. How do you feel about medical marijuana?
It's
Do you
here.
think that would be a positive
like
substitute?
for anxiety and
Right.
People have mixed feelings about it, but it's already out there and people are already, it depends. You have to go through the proper channels to get the diagnosis that falls underneath to meet the criteria. You can't just be like, you know what?
Let's go smoke.
Yes. And I mean, there is an argument that, you know, THC versus smoking, you know, all of those different arguments. So are you looking at CBD oils and different holistic ways? So you have to do what works for you and talk to your medical team about what works best for you.
Right. But I still think the importance of a professional like Ericka, because far too often, especially with us, we use things that are crutches.
Yes.
Right? Or you use it to mask the pain. So weed, alcohol, sex, you know what I mean? Violent behavior. These are all things that we do to mask or just try to deal with the pain and the trauma that we feel. So again, why it is important to have someone like Dr. Ericka that we can speak to, that identifies with, that can maybe sense it and see it. Because I can remember when I went to look for a therapist, it was really, really difficult for me. And it's not to say that they weren't trying to be helpful, but they just really had no way of understanding the things that I was talking to. They could not empathize with the things that I was talking about, the stress, the anxiety of going into my job in a corporate environment and being the only Black woman in there. They just couldn't relate to that. They just had no way of understanding that. So having someone like her, or like someone that looks like you, that can understand what you go through, why it's so essential and so important for us.
There were times where I looked, and that's what prevented me, because they don't know me. They don't know me.
Right. I think the biggest thing I hear is that being judged, fear of being judged for whatever the experience is. And like you spoke to, is just like not having that connection and connecting. A part of therapy, regardless of what type, art, play, it's about the connection and the trust to be able to explore the elements of yourself and be able to do it in an authentic way.
Right. So how can we support a family member or a loved one, a friend that is struggling with some type of mental health crisis? Because you hear that, like, let's say you went to talk to one of your friends.
Yeah.
A lot of what people, because they just don't know what else to say. Well, just you'll be okay. Just, get over it. You know what I mean? Or you just got to suck it up. Or it's time to move on. Just let it go.
Right.
And I know people want to be helpful. And I think for them, they just want to see you be yourself again, but don't understand how harmful something like that can be to a person that is struggling with some type of mental health disorder. Because in your mind, you're thinking, I should just be able to get over this. It's been a year. It's been 2 years. Why am I still thinking about it? So how can we be supportive of people that are struggling with that type of crisis?
Understand that it's real. Sometimes just because you can't see it and it may not be happening for you, then when you say things like, just get over it, like, why are you still crying? Like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? That really can impact people and just spiral them down. It's not helping them. Sometimes that suck it up, be tough mentality, for us, it brings people to their breaking point. And Thomas spoke attacks earlier, just feeling like there's someone sitting on your chest, like, I can't breathe. So the mental and the physical, they're starting to have this change. So it's really important. One resource that I wanted to speak to is NAMI. And they have what's called a family-to-family class. And that's the National Alliance of Mental Illness. But I will share that with you. I know they just started a session, but again, reach out and find out when is the next one. And they provide resources to families to help with family members that are dealing with family members who are experiencing real mental health symptoms.
We'll make sure. We'll put those links up in the bio when we post the video.
Now, if someone doesn't even know how to diagnose anything, they don't even know if they need help, or
are there warning signs?
Right. What are
the signs?
What should people look out for within themselves to be like, you know what, I may want to talk to someone, so I'm okay.
So knowing the difference between an acute, something that just occurred, and it's a natural response for you to be moved by it, a loss, a drastic event, major change, something like that. That's one thing. But once you're past that, what is, and this is a little different when you're talking about grief, because you never want to say, well, you should be done at this time or whatever.
Right. It's a process.
But when you're realizing how much it's impacting your daily function. So is there impairment? Are you starting to be isolated? Can you not keep a job? Are you retreating and not going to other events? Like a major change, and it could start small, like, oh, I'm just not gonna go to that party this weekend, or I'm not gonna go to so-and-so's wedding. And then next thing you know, I'm not gonna go to this. And you're starting to be more and more isolated. If you don't have people around you that kind of can be like, hey, what's going on with you? Or I haven't heard from you in a while. Then you can totally be impaired. So it's important to recognize it could be loss of sleep, irritability, starting to have breathing issues, as you referenced earlier, Thomas, feeling like sometimes the walls are
like everything she's saying is literally what I felt. Everything she's saying. So I'm not laughing. I'm just laughing. I'm like, this is right on point. So people
sexual
need to be aware.
Sexual,
I had an issue.
Hypersexual, low sex, like a change in, all of those kinds of things.
A lack.
Yes. No, it's not always a lack.
Okay.
Sometimes it's right. It could be hyper. It could be.
I didn't have that either. It was just normal, but everything else was definitely what I felt. And sometimes we just don't know what to do. Is there anything we can do on our own to just bring ourselves down? Like somebody doesn't. They really just don't want to get help. Is there anything that we can do to help ourselves in moments like that where we're feeling that way?
Definitely. Let me backtrack for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
You said the symptoms, and sometimes if you picked up, where is it? Hold on.
Or you take your time. You get all that together for us. We want
the DSM-5, right? This is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual. You see the size of this book, okay?
That's
so
a book.
This is what the tool that a clinician is going to use to look at the specific criteria for a diagnosis. If you look through this book, you might say, oh, I have a little bit of this, and I have a little bit of that. You'll be diagnosed yourself with 50 things.
Stop WebMD, guys. Don't do WebMD.
So you want to that's why you want to see a professional who's going to look at all of the criteria, because you need 7 of the 9, not just 1 or 2. So we want to make sure that you're getting appropriate, because it's easy in our community and all over. You hear these things like, oh, she's bipolar. Oh, he's depressed. Oh, she has anxiety. Oh, and they can be used so loosely. And no, it's like, well, who diagnosed you? When were you ever diagnosed with major depressive disorder? Well, my cousin said, well, my aunt said, but she had this. So we want to own these diagnoses. We want to get the appropriate support. And then in doing so, to your question is, then the appropriate trajectory for your treatment. So do you need outpatient? Do you need mobile therapy? Are you going to do some type of holistic treatment? Are you doing diet and exercise changes, stretching, meditation? So it just depends.
Okay. All right. So I know there's something, and it's kind of just this perpetual loop of trauma that we seem to be on, just specific. And I'm not just saying it's everybody, but specifically with our community.
Yeah. And
these police encounters that we have typically with the police have a tendency to end somewhat violent when they're typically mental health crises, like such as, Elijah McClain, Walter Scott, Rayshard Brooks, Sandra Bland. They ended fatally, actually, when essentially they were mental health crises. We should have had some mental health professional that was involved that could intervene. If we could reform that system, what would you want to see happen to it? And if you are a person that has a family member that struggles with mental illness, is there anything you can do if they start to have if they become violent or erratic or the behavior acts out? Is there anything that you can do short of calling the police?
I know that's real. I mean, it's so sad when you hear these cases. I remember one day I was at my parents' house and this person was walking by really fast and was mumbling to themselves. And right away, I just was like, I was like, he's probably schizophrenic and off of his medication, just because I've been in the field for a long time and I knew what it looked like. Sure enough, we saw the police go by, and then we saw a family member running and screaming, he's schizophrenic, he didn't take his medication, within a minute. And so we were flagging the police and everything, and thank God it didn't end in a negative way.
Right.
So many times, here it is. People are shooting. The police, they're shooting and asking questions later.
Right.
That's the problem. Less lethal. We need to get the imminent risk, safety risk under control without shooting and asking questions later. So that's so important that have someone like, again, I was just able, because of my training, to be able to recognize that. But for some to have, I hear these reform efforts around having ride-alongs and having mental health professionals on site, riding with the police to the call. Again, a taser, something else other than lethal.
Right.
Let's get this person safe, because you have to first keep them safe from themselves, and the police have an obligation to keep the community safe. So in being able to, one, get this person safe, then that takes away the immediate risk they can hurt themselves or anybody else. So that may be getting them to the hospital, getting them evaluated, giving them a chance to have, if it's medication, and get their, treatment back underway, or if it's a new situation. But if you shot them, they're gone. We can't figure it out then. So that's the feedback that I have to that question.
Thank you. So my mother was a psychiatric nurse. Nice. For 37 years. She actually finished her RN while she was pregnant. Started her first job. She worked at Polyclinic, and then once it became PPI, she was there, and then she went to Christian Medical Center. And I could see growing up, and even in my adulthood, how it took a toll on her. So what do you do to take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually?
Well, I think for me, it's changed a bit since COVID, because I was the first one to get on a plane and go somewhere. I wasn't originally, but it came. So I was like, you know what? I like doing this. I like just getting out and just getting away from my immediate environment, just see things different. So with COVID, it's been a little different, but it's like finding unique ways. I'm not up to traveling internationally at this point, but I really did travel a lot. But just having me time, setting boundaries, telling people, no, I'm not coming. I'm just going to chill out. Like, I'm not today. Staying in my lane, protecting my peace, not worried about what people are talking about on the internet. Staying in my lane. Like, I can see it, but I'm not observing. So I'm not comparing my life. That's great. You do that. That's wonderful. I'm happy for you. So I think spiritually, just knowing that God has for me, what he has for me is for me. So I don't need to compete with you. I don't need to do. So those type of things can help keep you safe right there. Like, we're worried about different things here. I'm not worried about that.
Speak that. We need to keep her protected. She's essential.
She's a gem. She knows that. She knows that. She may not say it, but she knows.
She absolutely.
And if you don't know it, I'm telling you.
Thank you, bro.
So we got a few minutes.
Yeah. Now, is there anything that you just want to shout out?
Anything you want to say?
Anything that you just want to tell us?
I want to put a call out to the Black therapists in Central PA. So I want you to visit our website, Black Therapists of Central PA. Right there. And there is a link there we have a form. So anybody that's on the site, like we have our pilot group on already. Shout out to all the therapists that are already on there. But we want to see more, in the group that are there. They're all dynamic, but guess what? It's only like 5 or 6 of us. Half of us can't take any more clients right now.
Right.
So
we need everybody
out there.
Everybody. So we haven't really been blasting it like that, but we do want to give therapists a chance to, one, know that it's here. We're creating this space. Then we have
the network.
Yes. Then we have the closed Facebook group, and that's just for clinicians only. So therefore, again, I get that inbox from somebody saying, "Hey, Ericka, I have an 18-year-old nephew, and I may know them personally, and they know I'm not going to see them because ethically I'm not. But I should be able to refer you to someone so I can go and reach are you available to be able to take an 18-year-old male, with some just general, not names. We don't give protected health information. It's done ethically. So I really want to encourage you all to come to the website, check it out. Everything you need to know about our initiative and objectives is all there. So go to blacktherapist.com, blacktherapistofcentralpa.com. So again, we don't want to hear, my aunt's a therapist and you didn't have her on there. My cousin, listen, y'all.
Right there. Yeah.
Let me tell you, we have a MailChimp letter that went out to everyone. We sent formal letters, and now this week they'll be getting a phone call. So we're using a 3-point contact system to avoid that. Even though we understand it will still happen.
That link.
Hit the link.
Yeah.
Please use it. It is very important.
Please, if you know anybody that's a professional, they might not see it. They don't have social media. They don't have this show. They don't subscribe. Please share the information. We need to create a whole network of people that look like us, understand us, that can be there to support us, especially with what everybody's dealing with.
And I ain't going front. Like, I don't mean this on the rude, but you got plenty of white people who don't have a problem going to therapists, and they'll flat out tell you, I went to see my therapist today, John, and this happened and this happened. We don't do that. We need to get in the habit of normalize that. I hate the phrase normalize, but normalize that.
Normalize Jay Bear. Like just having shirts like this, from Jay Bear, it just, it's so good to see people just like that conversation. Like, let's remove the stigma. Like, you're a therapist, make sure it's a good fit for you. Just because you go see someone who looks like you,
sometimes it takes more than one. Yep. Because I saw it took me about 2 or 3 before I found one that actually I could relate to. That was a good fit for me. So
just because they look like you, it may not be. So ask questions. Right. What are your thoughts about this? Or just don't be afraid to ask questions, because you're asking them to. You're going to work together, but you got to make sure it's going to be a good fit.
That's a good fit. Well, Dr. Ericka, you have an open platform here. Anytime you have anything that you want to talk about that you
thank you
for, you let us know. You got my information. You have Thomas, hit one of us up. We'll have you on. We'll broadcast it to the world. I'll put a banner on my ass for you if you need me. But we love you. It was such an honor to have you with us today.
It was an honor to be here.
Yes, it was. Thank you again.
Class 98.
98 all day. 98 all day.
I love what y'all doing.
Oh, we thank you, Mama. We thank you. And
love you.
Please, all of our viewers, please make sure you guys are not hitting Ericka up, but any therapist you need, black, white, I don't care what you are, however, especially in our community, make sure that we're taking care of ourselves so we can take care of everyone else around us as well.
You said it.
Yeah.
We love you, sis.
Love you.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Be blessed.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was a great conversation that was needed. And you know what? That could have went on and on now.
It could have. We can always have her back. She can always come back.
Absolutely. I would love to have her back any time.
And if you know her, you can understand why this is such a big deal for us. Just because she probably is one of the sweetest, most genuine spirits.
Sis doing her thing. I'm
so proud.
I'm honored to know a doctor from our class.
Dr. Ericka.
And I just know her, but be friends with her. Shit. That's it's my folks.
Yeah. And we also have she was a class of 99 graduate, but Bernadette.
Yes.
She's a doctor as well.
We gotta get her on. We gotta get everybody on. Anybody that's doing something big in the community.
It's Black excellence.
Make sure you're hollering at us so we can give you your flowers. You deserve them. And it's a lot of times where people aren't willing to give them, but that's what we do.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start bringing y'all flowers when we do the show. We're gonna deliver some flowers to y'all, and then we're gonna do the show. We got interns. Big shout out to our interns.
Jacob and Nia. You guys are seeing now. We got big things going on.
Their first day will be next week, and we can't wait to have them. Oh man, we can't wait to have them. They actually showed up with us a week ago for Otto's campaign, and they did an awesome job. We were super proud. We are very happy with our selection.
And can we give a shout out to Miss Sierra Dent? She's the Stilton Democratic.
Huge shout out to Miss Sierra Dent.
Support that sister. Make sure you go out.
From what we see, she's going to be mayor. However, we know there's some little extra caveats in there. Okay. However,
we're going to make that happen.
You got it, sis. We know you got it. Also, Miss Wanda Williams, Democratic winner for the city of Harrisburg.
I'm mayor.
Mama, we already know you're going to take it, but congratulations.
Absolutely.
The best of luck to both of you guys.
Give her flowers, because she's done a lot for the community when she sat on the school board. She's
done nothing but great things.
Yeah.
So big shout out to everybody in the city. Right now we just celebrated Black excellence, and it's been popping. It's really been popping. So
make sure you join us if you haven't already. Thomas has his backyard comedy show coming up on June 5th.
June 5th. It's not just a backyard comedy show; it's also a birthday celebration. I'll be turning 40 again.
He's 41.
I'll be turning 40 again. I'll be turning 40 again. But it's also a 90s style, so make sure you bring out your best 90s gear. I went to Amazon to purchase my drone. They got it for the low. Pop out, come celebrate with us. It's going to be a wonderful night. I sold all my VIP. Somebody said have VIP. I sold the VIP tables. So we're gonna have shit popping. We're gonna have it popping. It's gonna be a great night. June 5th, backyard comedy. Hit me up, Cash App, Mr. 14 $MR #1 FOUR $25. Hit me up. And I think that's all we got for the day. Let's give it up again for Miss Ericka Pinckney.
Absolutely.
Again, Doctor. She's my friend. I'm just so used to miss. But yes, Dr. Ericka Pinckney. Again, I am Mr. 14.
And I'm your producer, Ms. Siobhan.
And we thank you again for meeting us for our Meetup Spotlight.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you.